Today we are going to be messing with Propstream's quick lists. The reason is because I need to add some leads to my cold callers and my cold texters marketing. We are running out of leads in some of these platforms right now. So today I am going to pull some lists from Propstream, and I'm actually going to use some of the quick list features today. These are very, very helpful if you are in a hurry or you just need more leads. Now, the cool thing is these lists may be a little bit bigger than normal lists, but I'm not paying to skip trace my list a second time, assuming that this lead is already in our system. So the fact that the list is going to maybe be a little bit bigger in some cases by not zeroing down all of the criteria, again, it's not going to be a problem because I'm not going to worry about skip tracing that list if it's already in my system, not only for today, but then at a future date too. If I were to pull a list and these new leads get imported, I'm not going to pay to skip trace them twice. So I'm going to be using Propstream and batch leads to do my list pulling as well as my skip tracing today. So let's jump in. Let me train over here. There we go. And as you can see, I just logged into Propstream and it's pulling up St. Louis right where I live. It usually zooms in the map to right where you are located. Next, I'm going to go type in St. Louis up here in my search bar, and I'm just going to do a wide spectrum of St. Louis, Missouri. And I'm going to clear all my filters here. St. Louis, Missouri. Type in your own city, county, zip code. You can even draw on the map if you like. Okay, so I do have 384,456 unique properties in St. Louis, Missouri here. So what I want to do is I want to do some of these quick list choices, okay? And if I were to just pull a quick list choice of my vacant properties, you will see once it's done calculating that it's going to pull all of these vacants for me. Let's give it a second to do its thing. And the bigger area on the map you have selected, the longer that this is going to take because it's calculating through 350,000 properties. So when I did my quick list for vacant, you can see that I have 18,331 properties. I do want to narrow this down a little bit by going to the on market. I want to turn those off. I don't want properties that are on the market, okay? I am going to also go do an equity with a minimum estimated equity percentage of 40%. I don't want to be buying properties that don't have equity in them. Another thing I want to do very quickly is I want to go make this sure that I'm only looking at residentials, and I'm also only looking at single family, condo townhome, actually not condo townhome, and then multis 2 to 4, okay? So by doing this, I have quick list set for vacant. I have residential properties, single and multis right here, but small multis. And I have off the market, right? So these properties are not listed for sale. I have an estimated equity of 40%. And I want to do one or two other little things. I want to make the years of ownership on these properties. Let's try 5, but I'm most likely going to go to 10. And I want to see what that did. So that took if I delete that out and I look over here on my unique properties, that takes me from 11,936. And if I put that 5 in there, 11,000 turns into 6,900. So let's go to 7 and see what that does. And basically what I'm doing by changing the ownership information, the years of ownership, the longer that somebody's owned a property, the higher chance that they're going to be motivated to sell it, assuming it's vacant, right? If you own a property and it's vacant for just a couple months, not the end of the world. But if you own it for 3 years, you're going to start to see that start to hurt in that burn. If you owned it for 5 or 7 or 10, doesn't mean it's going to have been vacant the entire time. But the longer that it's owned, typically, the more motivation an individual may have. So let's try one at 10 years just to see what that does to our list over here. And that brings us down to 5,324 properties. If I want to bring that list down a little bit more, one thing I could tweak would be my estimated equity. I could take it from 40 to maybe 50%. And that takes my 5,300 down to 52. It didn't change it all that much. So this looks like a great place to start. There's 5,200 properties here on the Vacants in St. Louis, Missouri. And these look like they're going to be great properties to start marketing to. Okay, before I export this list, I want to double check that all my search criteria is in line. I did do a quick list of vacant right here. Owner occupied, any. I'm going to put the owner occupied as a no and see what that does to my number. 5,200 got us down to 39. And if it's a vacant property, the owner occupied, you know, it may matter. This basically means absentee that's vacant, or owner occupied that's vacant. I don't really know if that's going to matter all that much. So in this case, I'm going to leave the owner occupancy set to all. And then of course, occupancy status, it's already set to the quick list vacant. So by clicking this, it shouldn't change anything. Of course, you can see that you have the double vacant right there now. Other than that, I don't think there's really much else that I need to check. One thing I could do is I could go into the property characteristics and I could reduce out anything that is either too small or too big, right? So my building size, I really don't want to buy anything that's less than about 750 square foot. So I'm going to put that as my minimum, and that brought my number down to 4,700. I really don't want anything that's less than a 2-bedroom, and that brought me down to 2,200. Now, sometimes we can buy 1-bedroom houses and make them into 2s, so I'm actually going to leave that off. But by knowing that I have 750 square foot here, tells me that the possibility to turn a 1 into a 2 is there because there's enough square footage. If the house was, let's say, 500 or 480 square foot, turning a 1-bedroom into a 2-bedroom is very, very, very difficult. So I've basically got my list down to 4,718. And as you can see here in my legend, these are vacants in the entire city of St. Louis. The building size is going to be 750 or more. On market is set for off. These are off market properties. They've been owned by 10 or more years. And the estimated equity is 50% or more. So this right here, guys, this list that I'm pulling, this literally is our bread and butter marketing list. All right. I would say 75% of the properties that we buy are vacant properties, right? They don't have somebody living in them or renting them. They are vacant houses. So we always encourage somebody that's new to wholesaling, as well as individuals like myself that have been in the game for 5 or 6 years, to constantly hit your vacants. This should be your number one list to hit if you haven't started marketing in a new market or in your market yet. All right, so now that I've gotten myself 4,718 properties that I was able to pull out of Propstream here, I'm going to select right here, and you can see 4,718 of these have been selected. So I'm going to add to a list. I'm going to create a new list. I'm going to call this STL Vacants, 10 plus years of owned, off market, and what else do we have on there? We had a 50% equity. All right, so this is how I'm going to label my list so I know what this list is. All right, I'm going to save that list just like that. And that's going to add 4,718 properties that I can now export from Propstream and I can start marketing to. Okay, so if I was to export this, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on my properties. Next, I am going to find the vacants that I just added in my property list. And you can see that list is, where's that list at? Did I add a date first? Where's it at? There it is. STL Vacants, 10 years off market, 50% equity. There's 4,718 of these leads right here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this box right there. Again, you can see there's 4,718 selected here in the middle. And I'm just going to click export. And this export right here is going to be added into my skip tracing service. And we're going to skip trace all of these leads. And we're going to start cold calling, and we're going to start cold texting these leads right here. So that is a good little demonstration on how you are able to get leads out of Propstream quickly. I just pulled a vacant list. I added a little bit of extra criteria in to help ensure that these leads would have a high level of presumed motivation. And then I exported these leads out so I can drop them into the skip tracing provider. And that, my friends, is how you find a list to market to quickly.